Hello, and welcome to She Leads Biotech, the podcast that celebrates women leaders in the bioscience space. I'm your host, Sharron Cox, CEO and Managing Director of CNA International, based right here in New York. And each week I'll be talking to women leaders about their work, their triumphs and challenges, providing invaluable insight into how women can unlock their superpowers and succeed on their own terms. So whether you're navigating your own career path in bioscience or you're passionate about science and innovation, I hope you're empowered and inspired by each episode. Today's guest started her career in communications and marketing, never imagining that she'd one day be running one of Germany's first biotech companies. What drew her in was the people, the chance to connect, collaborate, and build something that could make a real difference. Along the way, she's built international partnerships with some of the biggest names in the industry. And she believes building scientific communities, especially among women and early-stage biotech founders, is the key to innovation. She's passionate about mentoring, serves on advisory boards, and creating teams that thrive both inside the lab and beyond it. And while she's busy guiding her company into new frontiers of cell and gene therapy, she's just as excited about life at home in beautiful and romantic Heidelberg with her husband and 2 children. So please join me in welcoming today's guest, CEO of PROGEN, Katja Betts. Katja.
Hi.
Guten Tag.
Oh, guten Tag, Sharon. Wie geht's dir?
Oh, no, don't tell me anymore. That's as far as I got, and that was with the help of ChatGPT and Google. But the pronunciation was right, yeah?
Yep, absolutely. Spot on. Well done.
Oh, jolly good. And for those people listening and thinking, sorry, what is going on? My guest today is actually speaking to me from Germany, and I can't wait to hear where you live. It sounds like a place out of a fairy Hans Christian Andersen fairy story. Is it Heidelberg?
It is. It's Heidelberg, which it's an absolutely beautiful place. It's in about an hour south of Frankfurt, so right in the heart of Europe, but very much connected to the rest of the world.
And does it have a castle? And I just have this vision of a place that has that name, has all sorts of beautiful things in it.
It does. It has a beautiful ruined castle, beautiful old town, and lots of science going on.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's the important thing because that's the field you're in. So that's always a good thing. And I want to get deep in the weeds of particularly the work that you do with your company. But how did it all start for you? Because you've gone from communications to being the CEO of one of the first biotech companies in Germany, right? How does that come about?
Yeah, it's bit of an interesting story, I guess. You're absolutely right. My background is in communications and marketing. I did quite a few different things in different industries before I ended up in the biotech industry. And the entry point to biotech, life sciences was really a role at EMBO, which is the European Molecular Biology Organization. So it's the organization that heads up a group of academic institutes called EMBL, which are spread around Europe. And that was really my first kind of interaction with the life science world and biotech worlds, and I've grown to love it. So I had a brief interlude at a different company before I joined PROGEN in 2016 as the head of marketing back then.
Right.
2019, then CEO very suddenly passed away. It was a very sad situation. Which led to the fact that my current co-CEO and I were asked to take over. Could we step in? And at the time, there was about 15 of us, and we just really liked working with the team. We could really see that there was a lot of potential for the company. And I guess we kind of figured, well, we've got nothing to lose. Let's try it. And that's what we did.
How was it, or how currently is it, being in the kind of driving seat with a co-passenger on this journey? What's that been like?
Brilliant. Just absolutely amazing. One of the things that I often say to people when they ask me, Katja, how do you do this? I mean, a lot of people know that I have got 2 kids. My daughter is just about to turn 7 and my son is 9. And I've got a brilliant husband who's very, very supportive. But I always say, well, it's because I've got a great team at home and a great team at work. And that, of course, expands beyond the current co-CEO. So, it's very much, I think, important to consider what people you surround yourself with and to build your network. And then lots of things are possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's building that network around you. And I know that that's pretty much one of your superpowers, isn't it? You're a connector at heart, which makes sense with a communications background. Can you give me some examples of how you've done that? Because you've really built some kind of, within the scientific community, you've built some amazing relationships. Can you tell me about any of them?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I guess they are quite varied because of the business we're in, being an analytical tools provider. One of the things I did since coming here, and again, of course, together with the team, was to kind of internationalize the company further than what had been happening. And that meant kind of identifying partners in the different markets, building an international distribution network that serves our purposes and works very well for us. The other aspect is kind of talking to partners in academia and making sure that we are at the forefront of our industry with analytical tools for gene therapy. So definitely constantly talking to people in the gene therapy world, all the way from startups to the big pharma players. And I guess some of those conversations have led to really wonderful partnerships. So we, as admittedly a fairly small company with 45 people, have got a partnership with Bio-Techne in the way of, in one of our analytical kits is something that we do with them. And other things, we managed to get a distribution partnership with Thermo Fisher, with our antibodies being branded as PROGEN on their website. And that's all credit to, the high quality products that my colleagues keep on developing and keep on producing and checking before they leave the door.
So just school me in what PROGEN do. What is your business?
Yep, absolutely. So our vision is to provide accessible tools for every gene therapy for every lab. And how do we define that? We are developing tools that are readily available off the shelf. They're really easy to use. You don't need specialist equipment. You don't need specialist staff to use them. And with those, what we want to achieve is to make gene therapy better. And really work with people on that one as well. So kind of the slogan underneath our logo says making gene therapy better together. And that's something we really live by. I always say to people, that's not just a slogan. That's who we are. We want to work with other people. We recognize that, yes, there's only 45 of us, but there's 45 very highly motivated people. And we can bring our expertise and combine it with the expertise of our partners. And then hopefully we help to make gene therapy better together so it reaches more patients, reaches the patients quicker and more safely as well.
I mean, cell and gene therapy is... there's so much of a buzz about it and has been for a while, but it's not without its challenges in itself.
Absolutely.
What are the key things that you at PROGEN are looking to do to support those very well-known challenges that the industry is facing?
Yeah. So, of course, one major topic is always immunogenicity in patients. And of course, lots of people are developing beautiful novel capsids to circumvent that. And so we need to make sure that we provide the tools that the people who are working with the novel capsids can then also still ensure, the quality and the risk assessments, etc. So that's one of the things we've launched actually last year already, is an antibody that can detect pretty much every novel capsid novel capsid that's out there. We've tested a lot that we've been able to get our hands on, because of course people like to keep them under lock and key, but some we've been able to get our hands on, and we have seen brilliant results with that. And using that antibody, obviously we're using that now as an internal tool as well to develop technologies and kits based on that. So that's just one of the things. Another thing we, of course, through talking to people, realized was that at the moment, people who are in the clinic or in clinical studies with their AAV gene therapy, every one of them develops their own serology ELISA to check for pre-existing antibodies against AAV in patient sera. And that's what we launched this summer. We launched a suite of very simple, easy to use AAV serology ELISAs, so that people don't have to develop their own assays anymore, but can actually use an off-the-shelf standardized kit that gives you a result within a day. Whereas maybe previously you were looking at assays, if you develop them in your own lab, they would maybe take 3 days.
And
that's the kind of thing we're doing.
Okay. So you sell your kits to labs and to companies? Is that how that works?
Exactly, that's how it works. Okay. So our customers are all the way from the academic lab through to the big pharma who've got gene therapies in the market. And of course, like the CDMOs and the CROs are also our customer base.
I read recently that the CDMOs within cell and gene therapy are having a bit of a boom time at the moment. Is that your finding? Or I mean, thing is, I don't believe anything anymore that I read or see. So whenever I read or see anything like that, I think must ask somebody at the source whether this is genuine. And it was just an article that said CDMOs within cell and gene therapy are in a boom sector going on right now. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure. Is that your experience?
No, not really, to be honest.
So I'll cross them off my hit list then for staffing.
Yeah, at the moment, it's, I guess like everywhere is a bit of a kind of valley that we're going through. Absolutely. I mean, it's the sort of general situation worldwide, right? Yeah. People are holding back their money, they're holding back their investment. A lot of the CDMO and CRO customers will have been biotech startups, and they're also our customers. And so there's just seems to be less money in the system now than, of course, there were in the boom times, kind of post COVID or during the pandemic, because just a lot of money went into biotech then. But the thing is, I mean, we have been around for over 40 years. So I think we're very well versed to kind of cope with these kind of challenges. We're looking at exploring other avenues, of broadening our portfolio even more than we have in the last few years. I mean, since Mike and myself took on the CEO roles, we've launched over 20 new products. With the product pipeline is still well filled, and we just keep on churning out new products that customers have asked us about. And we are at the same time exploring fields to the left and right of AAV gene therapy, because so far we've been very much focused on that area. But hey, what about lenti? What about LNPs, lipid nanoparticles, that we've actually launched some products earlier this year in that sector. So that's the kind of approach I'm taking, to take the company forward.
And it's not your first rodeo.
Yeah. And then there's obviously kind of geographical diversification as well that you can look at. So that's the benefit of being in the heart of Europe, that we can both go very well into the US market and at the same time.
How is that working at the moment in Europe? Because obviously I'm in the US and I know very much about the US market. I was talking to my daughter, because my daughter's in recruitment in the UK, and I was talking to her yesterday, and she was very pleased to tell me that she just secured a very large contract with a bio company in the UK. And I was like, okay, thank you. If you need any help, just give mummy a call if you don't mind. But again, somebody told me that Europe itself is a bit Where are you at in terms of your markets? Are you already in these countries, or is this part of your progression?
No, I think we're like in Europe, we're very firmly established, absolutely, and especially in the UK, where there's a lot of gene therapy happening or gene therapy manufacturing happening. Then the kind of market for us for the future that's really of interest to us at the moment is, of course, so we have been working with a Chinese distributor and with Chinese end customers for a number of years, and we have, of course, seen ups and downs within that market as well. But admittedly, we have been so busy producing and developing new products and expanding our US business that China so far had been kind of something that happened on the side. Times are changing. So that's what we're looking at as the kind of next big thing to see, okay, what can we actually do to support our Chinese customers better? What are the requirements in that local market? And that's what we're exploring at the moment.
Excellent. So you're very nimble, aren't you? It's very like, okay, we can do whatever we need to do, which is exactly how really it needs to be in this kind of market where everything is kind of just flat.
Yeah.
The change is going to come from the people making the change, right? And stepping out of that comfort zone and saying, okay, let's explore this. Let's look at that, rather than, I think there's a little bit of what I'm seeing in the market is a little bit of, we'll just hold off and we'll just wait and see. But that's really not going to create anything. It needs bold people to make bold moves to make that change.
Yeah, I think that's true. And at the same time, we're not forgetting about our core customers and where we've come from. So it's kind of the combination of, okay, well, we know what we can do. We know what our expertise is. Let's see how we can transfer that to other geographical areas, or how can we transfer that into adjacent spaces so that you don't do something that stretches you and your resources too far. And it's striking that balance,
because you don't want to forget about the customers that you've already got, that you've nurtured and built, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think also, like, I wouldn't describe myself as kind of visionary. I'm very much a kind of incremental changes person then you can build on things, and that also then results in a very solid business, because you're never going, like, you're not doing a huge step and you're not taking a huge risk, but rather you're taking little steps and little risks, and which means you are overall stable. Just continue the tradition of this company that's been around for over 40 years. I'm sometimes very aware of kind of the responsibility.
Don't let it fall now. It's been going for 40 years.
Exactly. I don't want to go down into history as the person who let it fall down, right? So, very well aware of that responsibility.
I get it. I've done 45 years in recruitment, so I totally understand that kind of slow build with what you're doing, rather than saying something or doing something. I think that's where your background in communications is just invaluable, because generally that's where it goes horribly wrong, when somebody says something about a company or about a move or whatever that's going to happen. Everybody just turns on the market on it. But I'm pretty certain that the company is very safe in your hands. And that leads me to a question, actually, because I don't know the answer to this. Being a woman in bio in Europe, how has that been for you? What's that journey been like, and what challenges have you kind of faced along the way?
It's a good question. So I think I'm very, very privileged because of where I and my family live, right? And we've got a brilliant informal but also formal support network here in Heidelberg. Because of course it always comes down to, the kind of topics of daycare, schooling. Do you sit at your desk and worry about your kids, or you just think, okay, fine, they are having a great time, they're doing well, I can just entirely focus on what I'm meant to be doing during my working hours. So so that's definitely very privileged in that way. But of course, you sometimes still encounter situations where you're wondering, is my counterpart, the person sitting opposite me, reacting in the way they're reacting because of my gender. And I think I'm very often just not aware. Like I often think these things should not matter, but they seem to still matter sometimes. And that's what does frustrate me, because I'm thinking, come on, guys, it's 2025. In Germany, lots of people are talking about a skills shortage. So of course you want to engage as many motivated people as possible, and whatever gender, race, or age they have, I don't care.
Can they do the job? That's
Can they do the
thing.
job? Exactly. Are they motivated to do the job? And if they can't do it just yet, well, maybe they can do it in half a year's time with the appropriate training. Because I think there's a lot to be said for people who have seen other things and then enter the industry, or, to have a very mixed team with people from different backgrounds is very important to me, because that way you take care of all the different aspects and everyone can kind of give their input, and hopefully you create something that's well-rounded and all the different things are thought of.
And I know that you do a lot with women in STEM, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. But first, do you have a women CEO network there in Europe that you can call on? Is it a big kind of thing?
Yeah.
How does it work there?
Yeah, it's still, I guess, more unusual to see female CEOs. I, at some point, was a member of a CEO roundtable, and I think most of the time I was the only female CEO. And you know what? After a couple of times, I just thought it's such a waste of time,
Right.
because this room is full of male CEOs who just want to present themselves, who are not really interested in getting feedback or learning from each other. It's all about self-focus and self-fulfillment kind of thing.
Who can puff up the loudest?
Yes, exactly. But I've found my networks. And so one of the networks I find very beneficial is one that's run out of a very traditional German institution, but the network itself is very vibrant, and it's kind of female managers in the life sciences. So you see people in that from early career stages all the way up to CEOs, also CEOs of bigger companies, but it's just a very open and honest and trusting kind of exchange of ideas and thoughts, and I always take a lot away from that network. So it's run by Dechema, and it's manager in the life sciences. And then of course the kind of local network, and that's not female focused, but that's the BioRN, which is kind of the regional network for biotech and life sciences in Heidelberg, Mannheim. And given that we are a very vibrant community here, there's lots happening with that. And I've made very valuable connections from that network.
Excellent. And a little bit of an aside, but how did it become such a vibrant community within the life science space in that section? I get it when they say, New Jersey is a hub and Boston is a hub and those sorts of things. How did this little town in Germany become such a hub?
Yeah. I think the root of it is that, it's got the oldest university in Germany. It's based in Heidelberg. And so, of course, we've kind of got excellent science going on at the university, but also at several other academic institutes, or there's several Max Plancks here. There's the EMBL here. So, and the German Cancer Research Center, the DKFZ, is here as well. So there's lots of academic science happening here.
Right.
That then kind of filters into biotech. And we also benefit from 8 of the largest pharma companies in the region. You've got the likes of Roche and AbbVie and Merck within the region. So it means that there's enough happening here that it draws talent and also enables talent to stay in the region. I mean, I never planned to stay in Heidelberg for my kind of adult life. My husband didn't. We both kind of thought, Heidelberg's just another stop, and we move on elsewhere. But then we kind of both found good jobs here and built a life here. And it's a very international place, and it's a a very pleasant place to live. So I think that kind of fosters the science community as well, that people just enjoy living here, and it enables an open exchange between lots of different scientific players.
Right. It's that starting at the academic part, which, I don't think is any major surprise, is what's a little bit of a struggle here at the moment. But if you've got the teachings and everything that's happening in a place, people thrive on that and then can move out into either staying in academia or moving into industry and taking those skills along with them and building on that as their careers grow. So that makes complete sense to me as to how it would be evolving in a place like that. So, and what about for you? We talked right at the beginning about, a new phase for you that will be coming up. What else is happening that's exciting that you can tell me about?
I think also it's just the kind of like, what are we doing at the company? Because we've kind of reached the stage now where we're very solid in the AAV gene therapy space. And yes, there's still products to be launched within that space and improvements to be made, etc. But how do we go beyond that, and what do we do next within the cell and gene therapy space? Because that's very much what we have identified as our field. So very interesting conversations going on regarding things for the Lenti community. So definitely watch
this
that space.
Okay. What would you say to people who are exploring the bioscience space, particularly, you're in the cell and gene therapy space, so let's be specific, people who are exploring that right now, particularly women in the space, what would your advice to them be?
I think this goes kind of beyond that space and beyond the biotech space, is that whenever you're looking at a professional opportunity, look at who you're going to be working with, because you're going to spend so much time with these people. So it's not just about shiny big names and big salaries. It's also very much about, well, will I be able to do what I want there? Will I have supportive colleagues? Will I enjoy going to the office every day? Because life is just too short to be doing things that you don't enjoy. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, as I said earlier, brilliant team at work, brilliant team at home. So that's like, open your eyes and think about that, who you're gonna partner with, both professionally and in personal life.
Yeah, because that can make all the difference, can't it? It's
absolutely
as to who you take that journey with, either as a partner or as a backseat driver or whatever. But the important thing is that you're enjoying the journey and you're enjoying being with the people that you're with on that journey. I think makes such a difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, listen, I am very conscious of the time I've taken of yours today. I really appreciate you taking the time out to have a chat on a Friday. And I wish you every success. I can't wait to see how things evolve in PROGEN. I'm pretty certain it's going to be amazing. And you're going to be amazing with it. So best of luck.
Thank you.
And if I ever find myself in Germany, I shall certainly let you know, and we can have a beer in a tavern. I have this.
Absolutely.
Honest to God, every time I'm thinking about where I'm running through the opening of Beauty and the Beast. With Belle dancing through the streets and all the shopkeepers coming out going, good morning.
Yeah.
That's just me. Those are the things that go round in my head on a Friday. But listen, best of luck, Katja. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, Sharron. Thanks very much for your time and the opportunity to chat.
No worries. Take good care. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. She Leads Biotech is brought to you by CNA International USA, a woman-owned boutique search firm based in New York. If you're looking to hire talent for your company or want support in achieving your career goals, please reach out to me at contact@cnaint.com. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And remember, the success of every woman should be an inspiration to another. So don't be afraid to share yours. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.